Why do you go to the line every Friday?
I have to hear this shit.
Yeah. Why do you go to the line every Friday?
Well,
because the finance man is going to be at your house on Saturday, right?
shit, yeah.
And that's exactly what the company wants. To keep you on the line. They'll do anything to keep you on their line. They pit the lifers against the new boys, the old against the young, the black against the white, everybody to keep us in our place. I mean, can't you understand that?
Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you in our Unrated Underappreciated movie review series, and in this edition we will focus on the union worker drama Blue Collar. Released on February the 10th 1978, it stars Richard Pryor, Harvey Keitel and Yaphet Kotto, and it was the first directorial debut of Paul Schrader. Now, Blue Collar tells the present day story of three car factory workers within Michigan: Ezekiel Brown, Sam Smokey James and Jerry Bartowski. We follow each of their individual situations as they're continually aggrieved and frustrated with work. They feel mistreated and ignored by their bosses. They're unhappy with the working conditions and the faulty equipment. Dealing with their own personal issues and struggling to make ends meet, the three decide to rob the union headquarters and steal the safe, which they deem holds $6,000. However, when they open the safe, they unfortunately only find $600, but they also come across a notebook that has records of multiple illegal loans being taken by the union. Feeling that the union deserves their comeuppance, the trio decides to blackmail them for $10,000 in exchange for the notebook. The union tries to manipulate the reporting of the theft by claiming over $20,000 has been stolen, as they try to claim extra insurance from the robbery. Realising that to avoid suspicion, the trio have to go their separate ways, but after being outed by a loan shark, they suddenly find their lives under threat as the union looks to eliminate them for committing the robbery. Now, Blue Collar is a superb, intelligent and very intense and thought-provoking drama. It's one of those great movies that operates on multiple levels and manages to incorporate all of them successfully into a compelling story. Despite being released in the late 70s, the movie's themes prove still to be all relevant in today's climate. Here we have elements of employee dissatisfaction, racial attitudes and disharmony, company politics, personal struggles, self-preservation, loyalty, friendship, position and power, how workers are manipulated into turning against one another in order to keep them online, how they are constantly being overworked and underpaid. And all of these elements just make you relate and favour the movie so much. It doesn't sugarcoat the issues with any sentimentality or emotional or fairy tale endings. It poses difficult questions and dilemmas for these characters, and seeing all the stress and pressures that they go through as their world closes in around them adds a lot of the tension and suspense. We completely understand these characters and their motivations. In the beginning of the film, we see a lot of the banter and camaraderie as they meet up in the pub after work. We see them having to lie to their wives so they can go around and party with other women. And later on we have scenes where they reflect on how disillusioned they are in terms of their lives. And when I watch all of these scenes, I remember so much seeing them play out in actual real life, and this is again what makes this movie so special. As we see the story play out, it's so sad to see the friends disband and eventually turn on one another, but again, that's real life and how it works. And that's really what's reflected throughout this movie. Yes, it's very much about the union worker in terms of a car factory, but you could take a lot of this story and apply it to almost any other industry or vocation that you currently work under. Now, the movie of course is fueled by three absolutely brilliantly performances, all full of energy and intensity. All of them are Oscar worthy in my opinion, another sign that this movie doesn't get the full praise that it actually deserved. We first have to mention Richard Pryor, who we rightly recognise as one of the most iconic comedic stars of the late 70s and 1980s, but his role here is very much of a serious, dramatic one, and it's easily the best screen performance of his career. As Ezekiel, he's simply electrifying and energetic. Yes, there are plenty of moments of humour and comedy, but this is far more of a riveting display here as we see Ezekiel struggling to pay for his wife and his kids. We have one scene in particular where he has to use his neighbour's kids in order to try and fool the taxman who makes an unwarranted visit to his house. And overall, Richard Pryor just brings so much liveliness and spark to the film, and we have some great scenes where we see him talking about getting one choice and one chance to make overall changes. He's so brilliant in this film that when we look back on his overall career, I just really wish that he had selected far more character driven roles like this, and I think it would have added further to his overall legacy. We look at Harvey Keitel, who doesn't get enough credit as one of the cinema's all-time great performers. He's also fantastic as Jerry, who we see has to work a second job at a gas station. He also needs to get money for dental work required for his daughter. And he's probably the most scared and conscious out of all of the three characters, constantly fearing for his family's safety. He has some fiery exchanges with the sequel, especially in the film's final scene, and it's another great performance from the actor. We have other sequences where we see Jerry on the run in probably the most tense sequence throughout the entire movie. We then look at Yaphet Kotto as Smokey, who is probably the strongest and convincing presence. He's very much the ladies' man in the beginning, where we see him driving around in his flash cars. But overall, this character is probably the most level-headed and smart of the three. He's the most self-aware of the situation that's going on around him, and this is defined no more so in the absolutely fantastic scene that he has when he talks to the other two about the company wanting to divide the young and the old, the black and the white, just to keep everybody in line. It's an absolute brilliant delivery and an equally intense performance, and it's this line of dialogue alone that shows how relevant this film can be even if you watch it today. So if I had to give an overall score for Blue Collar, I would give it an 8.9 out of 10. And when we talk about the box office of the movie, when it was released on a budget of 1.7 million, it managed to gross over 6.5 million at the box office. So definitely it wasn't a blockbuster, and for a film like this where it tackles such powerful and controversial subject matter, it wouldn't have appealed as much as the likes of both Superman and Grease, which were the top grossing films within 1978, and those movies were far more romanticised, optimistic movies as opposed to the very dark realism of Blue Collar. And even amongst the 1970s, which had many successful films that were controversial for far more darker and political and controversial subject matter, Blue Collar somehow didn't manage to stand out within that era, and it really isn't talked about enough when reflected on great movies from the 1970s, which overall I think is a shame, because I think Blue Collar is every bit as compelling and riveting and powerful and even more relevant and relatable now at what it was at the time of its overall release. So much in terms of thought-provoking material alongside three brilliant performances, all of which makes Blue Collar very deserving of far more praise many years after its release, and definitely a movie that was unrated and underappreciated both during and after its overall release. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and review of Blue Collar. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any other films covering this type of topic or any other topic that you'd like to see me review within the channel, then drop a suggestion within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary on that movie for you in the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.